Commission meeting of July 11th, 2023. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Manager McGill, if you could call the roll, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Flynn,
Present.
Commissioner Grella.
Here.
Commissioner Ranny,
Here.
Commissioner Swager Wilson,
Here.
Commissioner Silverman.
Here. Let's see if you could proceed to the summary of discussion topics and manager's announcements, please. Manager McGill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier tonight, Commission met in discussion session and received information and discussed the following items. We received information regarding a possible change order to our current road reconstruction contract related to some work over on Arden. We heard a review and recommendation of the bids received for the master park site plan and a presentation from Mr. McNeens, our municipal planner, as well as the consultants who submitted that recommended bid. We reviewed and discussed information regarding unassigned funds, available ARPA funds, and debt issuance. And we also received a brief update from a couple commissioners on boards that they serve as the liaison to. Really, that was confined to Connect, having a new location, and also to SHACOG, moving to continue their ability to participate virtually in their meetings. Prior to that meeting, the commission met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next regular meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, August 8th. That meeting will begin at 8 p.m. There is no second meeting in July. Here are the ways the public can participate. In person, you don't need to pre-register. Simply show up at the appropriate meeting time. If you wish to speak during the meeting, there's a sign-in sheet at the back of the room, and also remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register. Simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during citizens' comments or during a public hearing, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, community highlights, Commission Vice President Swager Wilson, please.
Thank you, President Silverman. Well, let's celebrate our Washington Road, Mount Lebanon's Main Street, at First Friday on August 4th from 7 to 10 with Wisdom World Beat Reggae Band. Washington Road is open to drivers for this event. May we suggest you have dinner at one of our fine restaurants beforehand. Then come back for Uptown Unveiled on Saturday, August 5th from noon to 6. For that event, Washington Road will be closed to vehicles from Lebanon to Cedar, but both garages will be open. Admission is free and we'll have fun for the whole family, including food and beverages from Washington Road businesses, life-size games, music from Big Fat Mallard, Fungus, Dan Pedrick, Mac and Band, and Pat Hodge, and an all-star ribbon cutting at 3 p.m. at the Clock Tower Plaza near East End Brewery. It's been a long 2 years. Let's get together and have some fun. More details for both events are on our website at mountlebanon.org. Does that mean we're having a life-size like Twister game kind of thing? Okay, just wanted to check, As we continue to bring new items to the new Mount Lebanon website, I'm pleased to announce that the police site has now been added to mountlebanon.org. For a shortcut, go to mountlebanon.org/police. As part of the new pages, we've added the ability to see police blotter information in the crime map. Thanks to our police department for its tireless commitment to keeping our communities safe. Have a blast and learn more about the Mount Lebanon Fire Department at the Citizens Fire Academy, September 13th through November 10th. Most classes are on Wednesdays at the Public Safety Center, 555 Washington Road, but a special Saturday session will take participants to the Washington County Fire Academy. Registration is open to Mount Lebanon residents and business owners. Classes include such topics as fire science, fire hose and water streams, forcible entry, search, thermal imaging, ladders, auto extrication, and fire prevention. For information or to apply, go to mountlebanon.org/fire. And finally, recycle your electronics on Saturday, July 15th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Public Works Yard, 1250 Lindendale Drive. Accepted items include keyboards, printers, cell phones, televisions, computers, and other peripherals for free. Limit 1 TV per car. Like everything else, more information is available on our website, mountlebanon.org.
What was that day again?
Which one? Saturday, July 15th.
Great, thank you for those announcements. Next on the agenda, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. Commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have specific comments, we will try and, specific questions, we will try and answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address commission. Please state your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room and online. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to retain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. First on the list, Colonel Hoon.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. In 2005, I believe it is, there was a meeting at the high school, which was attended by Tony DiNicola, contractor, deer killing, state biologist, and some other people. The state biologist had some interesting things to say. First off, the township or the commissioners, whoever, has to decide if we have a deer problem. She did not know that the commission had already decided. I mean, Commissioner Logan offered her advice, and that was it. No other issue. She also said, this is a very important point, if Mount Lebanon succeeds in killing all of the deer in Pennsylvania, all of them, next spring, there would be deer in Mount Lebanon. Interesting point. Okay, first group that we brought in here, USDA Wildlife Services. They were headed by Craig B. Swoopy. He made several presentations right here, stood right where I'm standing. And one night in particular, after he addressed the commission, he left, went right out front, and as soon as they left the building and the door closed, all four of them started to laugh. Now, I was already out there because I'd heard enough, and I'd heard it before, and I guess I was in the shadows. They didn't notice me at all. But there they are laughing, and one of them said, and I think it was Craig, like fish in a barrel. He had the commission hooked, and he was going to get his money. First year, 2006, killing session, $107,000. And that was followed up in 2007 by another $107,000. I don't know if somebody complained to the commission, high price and all that, but well, Craig started making some statements. He said to the commission that you are never going to get control of these deer unless we have permission to kill deer anywhere we see them in Mount Lebanon. Private property, school property, church property, all of that has to be ours, or it's not going to work. He also wanted a team 24/7, year-round, riding around the township in their trucks and shooting deer wherever they find them. Okay. There's that. Then he approached the township manager and said to that man that, you know what, we noticed the deer running down into Castle Shannon when we shoot on them. Deer don't like to be shot at, so they run to Castle Shannon. Okay, so our township manager approached his counterpart in Castle Shannon. Now, Craig B was willing to give free shoot 'em up in Castle Shannon. Well, Castle Shannon manager just said, you know what? We don't have a deer problem. Your problem is not our problem. And we are not willing to subject our community to what you propose. So no, you can't come into Castle Shannon. Curious, right down the street, people that have the same deer that we do don't have a problem. But that's true in Green Tree, in Dormont, Pittsburgh, all around. Nobody has the problem Mount Lebanon does. Interesting. Can't figure that one out. It's kind of tough. Okay. Yeah, well,
Thank you, Colonel. I appreciate your thoughts. Next on the list, Dan Early.
Hi, I'm Dan Early. I have property on Pennsylvania Boulevard, which you're going to be talking today about this discussion of the development.
You speak a little louder,
Oh, I'm
just so
sorry.
it's easier. to
I
hear
said, my name's Dan Early. I own two properties on Pennsylvania Boulevard where the development is going to be discussed later on tonight. This has been a long time coming. There have been a few different proposals for developments on that area, and the neighbors and myself felt that many of them were inappropriate, ill-conceived, etc. And after a lot of negotiating and a lot of changes, the developers have proposed a plan that we begrudgingly agreed will work. And I said, the reason why that we had to agree is that since it's a unincorporated street or a paper street, we had to sign off on development of that street before any street development could occur. We've done that. But I wanted to just make a point that one of the reasons why this took a very long time is that there was a lack of responsiveness on developer side on getting things done or making changes to their plans and things like that. At some point here, we expect this plan to go forward and they will start to develop. But I want to make sure that when that happens, we don't all just say, oh, well, and not have oversight of this development, because I think that up until now, it's all been talk. Now it's actually going to be doing development. And that's really the time when oversight is most needed. And so I just wanted to ask for you to continue to pay attention and to make sure that this is completed in the way that they said they'd complete it, and to the benefit of them and us and Mount Lebanon. And that's all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Next is Moss Hart.
My name is Donald Mosshart. I live at 349 Ashland Avenue. We came aware of this meeting tonight last Friday. We understand that the developer will be making a presentation tonight. Normally, in our dealings with the long-term dealings with the planning board, the public is invited to comment after presentations. Tonight, we comment before the presentations. So I haven't the slightest idea what to comment on. And I won't. However, this development application has been going on for over a decade. Not all of you are familiar with the history. The neighbors, the interested neighbors, are quite familiar with it. We've been to so many meetings, I can't keep track of them. Because you have not been here when we've made presentations before, or we've made comments before, we will be collecting significant comments, which we'll determine after this presentation, and be presenting them to you in writing over the next 4 weeks. We urge you to find the time to read what has happened. And by the way, we've had a very capable recorder here who has recorded maybe the last 10 or 12 meetings. And some of what we will be submitting to you are the transcripts. So there is no question about what has been said. Thank you.
Please keep in mind that tonight is a presentation, not a vote. So
Not
you
what?
mentioned about making comments,
I
tonight is
understand.
presentation, not, so my point is that there'll be time to comment at the next commission meeting. It's not like there's a vote tonight. It's just a presentation.
Well, but in 5 minutes, we cannot comment sufficiently to
Well,
give our position.
And as we've said, the 5 minutes is something that every commenter is subject to that 5-minute limit as a courtesy to anybody else that steps up to the microphone.
I'm
So-
sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The 5-minute limit is something we have had for beyond my 10 years on commission. It's meant to be fair to everybody having a chance to give their comments. So, we're not trying to play favorites here. Everybody gets that 5-minute rule.
We understand. And by the way, the last time we were before the commission, that rule was not in effect.
Well,
Yeah,
I've been
we
on
spoke-
commission 10 years, so.
We spoke for, I don't know, we have a record of every word that was said. And it was very, very long. And then shortly after that meeting, the 5-minute rule was incorporated. It's
Can't speak to that, but thank you
Well,
for your comments, and we've got some other folks on the list, so I want to
Right,
give them a chance
right.
to speak.
I'm done.
I can't read the handwriting here. Maeve? Sorry.
Hi, I'm Maeve Gary. I'm at 315 Ashland Avenue. I am here to reiterate some of the comments from my neighbors. I'm one of the newer neighbors on the block. We actually moved to our house about 4 years ago to escape the stormwater of Whitehall. So I am coming today to emphasize my concerns about water plans associated with building out additional units as part of the plan that's expanded. The hillside that our homes are all on has already eroded. You can tell that from our basements and our walls and the cracks that that we see, which of course it's happening around much of Mount Lebanon, but the forested area, wooded area below our houses where a lot of this plan is being discussed, being built, is one of the main ways, as you know, that water is naturally absorbed in our area. So we're concerned about, to what Dan said about oversight around managing the safety of our hillside as this is all being built out, and ensuring that our homes are not at risk with the development of these residences, and not impacted further by the request to add more buildings rather than the 4 that were previously defined.
Right, thank you for your comments. Next is A. Gruber.
Good evening. My name is Alexandra Gruber. I live at 305 Ashland Avenue. I have 3 main points I would like to make this evening. The first of which is that I'm very concerned that we're taking a lot of 5 parcels and trying to put them into 4. The only reason that's being done is because of hardship. The developer wants to make more money. So rather than having 1 building per parcel, they're trying to squeeze them all together and have 5. I know it doesn't necessarily particularly count because the traffic board has said that it's not a traffic problem. But if 3 people are in 10 units each, that's 30 people at a really dangerous intersection. That's, and there are a number of other issues along with that. But that is, I think, personally, and I think also by the bylaws or whatever you call them, not a valid reason to consolidate. I remember reading that at one point, that consolidation because of hardship is not allowed. Am I correct in that?
Actually, hardship is not a criteria to be granted a variance. You can consolidate property
Okay.
as
Okay,
long
but
as you meet the
But
requirements
isn't
of
it
the
a
zoning.
variance to, by consolidating lots and not keeping
No.
them? Okay, all right. In any case, they would just like to make more money. I understand from the business perspective why that might happen, but we have a vested interest in making sure that our neighborhood stays intact and our houses don't slide down the hill. What Maeve did not tell you is that we currently have a sinkhole happening on our hillside. Rudy in the back can tell you about that. It was 5 feet deep a few weeks ago because of contractor error. So we're not particularly looking favorably at contractors right now who don't do their job. The water issues on this hill, you've heard ad nauseum about. I will tell you on my property, which is not even directly behind where residences at Poplar is going to happen, it's further towards Poplar. On my property, in the 15 years that we have lived there, our retaining walls, which were fairly new at the time that we moved in, went from this to this. We've had to replace each and every one of them with what? Rock, large, huge boulders that are stacked because everything is shifting. So I know you've done your soil analysis with the builders done their soil analysis. I'm telling you, it's moving. So we are very concerned between sinkholes happening 15 feet from my property line and my observation over years that everything is shifting, which every single one of my neighbors will corroborate. We need to make sure that the retaining walls that are being proposed in this development are developed exactly as they should be. Unfortunately, we have not had the best experience as a group of neighbors with this developer. They have been disingenuous. They have tried to sell us on things. I don't trust them further than I can throw them. And this last iteration that we're looking at now, that is part of the proposal, came in very sloppy. Even I, an opera singer, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I could tell that they hadn't taken the time to transfer new numbers from the old draft from 2018 to the current draft. So please make sure, if this is going to be built, that you watch these people like a hawk. Because when they leave, they can disband their corporation. And then 15 years from now, people's foundations can slip, they can crack. Their properties will be devalued. Who pays for that? Do we come to you? The corporation doesn't exist anymore. Where do we go? Please watch them. This is our livelihood. We are not Virginia Manor. We are, as we like to call it, Lower Mission Hills, okay? We are not terribly wealthy people. We don't want to be spending $100,000 to repair our foundations because a builder didn't do their job correctly or tried to cut corners. Please, thank you.
Thank you for your thoughts. Let's see, do we have anybody online that wants to make a comment?
Not right now.
Alrighty. All right, okay, and that's everybody on the list. So that concludes citizens' comments for today. Next on the agenda, item 3, Commissioner Swager Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of the minutes from the adjourned meeting held June 27th, 2023. I move to approve the minutes.
Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 4, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the adoption of standard resolution number R-12-23 for a planning module for the Black Oak Hill land development. As part of the land development permit process, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, PADEP, requires sewage planning approval. The proposed Black Oak Hill development, consisting of 10 single-family attached homes located along Old Gilkison Road, has submitted the required sewage planning documents. This includes the standard resolution associated with updating the official sewage facility plan to include the development in standard transmittal letter. The development project has also obtained preliminary approval from the planning board. The municipal engineer has reviewed the documents and submitted and recommends adoption of the standard resolution and transmitting it to the PADEP. I move to adopt the standard resolution number R-12-23 for Black Oak Hill Land Development Project and transmit the planning module to the PADEP.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? We'll hear from the planner on this. No. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 5, Commissioner Grella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Request for final approval of a subdivision and land development plan for the residences at Poplar Project on Pennsylvania Boulevard. The Residences at Poplar LLC owns 4 adjacent parcels on Pennsylvania Boulevard. The developer is requesting approval to consolidate 4 parcels currently identified as lot and block 192-C-23, 192-C-24, 192-C-30, and 192-C-32 in the Avondale plan of lots and divide them into 5 lots in order to construct 5 two-family dwellings on the site for a total of 12 dwelling units. Thank you. A total of 10 dwelling units. I read it and said it wrong. As part of the land development plan, Pennsylvania Boulevard will be improved to municipal standards up to the intersection with Poplar Drive. The property is zoned as R3 residential. 2-family dwellings are a use by right in the R3 zoning district. The planning board recommended final approval of the site plan revision at its December 2022 meeting. Tonight, the commission will hear a presentation on the project from the project developer, Residences at Poplar LLC. The commission will take separate actions on final approvals of the subdivision plan, requested modifications, and land development plan at the August 8th, 2023 meeting.
Okay, next is a presentation from, so that's it. Please go to the microphone and identify yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Ed Moore with Scheffler and Company. We're the civil engineer for the project. And we just have a real quick, brief presentation for you, and then we'll open everything up to questions. Is it okay if I hit this light for the screen?
Fine.
The residents of Poplar. As site location, I'm sure a lot of us know where this is. The property is along Pennsylvania Boulevard. The property itself is about 1 acre. And like I said, it's on, I believe, the southern side of Pennsylvania Boulevard.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second, just do a sound check. Can we hear him okay on the speakers?
If he could please speak into the microphone a little closer.
That way anybody watching can hear your hear your presentation.
All right. We wanted to show what the previous plan looked like versus our current plan. The previous plan is the plan at the top. There are 13 units in one continuous building. Along the back of the units, there was one large, tall retaining wall, and the storm system we proposed was actually in the street at that time. The current plan, which is on the bottom, is 10 units in 5 separate buildings. So there are several smaller retaining walls in the back. So there's not a large retaining wall, but there's several smaller ones. And our proposed storm system is no longer in the street, but it's on the lot themselves in front of the units. As far as the improvements in the amenities we're proposing, we're proposed to improve Pennsylvania Boulevard to municipal standards. The development will have street trees along the front of the units. There'll also be streetlights along Pennsylvania Boulevard, and along the back of the units, there are ornamental plantings and buffer yard plantings. And then there'll also be a sidewalk along Pennsylvania Boulevard in front of the units. We have sample building elevations of what the buildings are going to look like, and we can get into this if you have any questions, but this is typical what one of the units will look like. As far as modification requests, we're looking for 4 modifications. The first one is to provide an irregular shaped cul-de-sac instead of the standard municipal cul-de-sac. We're looking at doing a straight curb instead of rolled curb along some of the existing residences and along the northern side of Pennsylvania Boulevard. The street tree location, instead of being 23 feet behind the curb, we're asking for 20 feet. And the sidewalk location will be 3 feet behind the curb instead of the standard 6 feet. So those are the 4 modifications that we're also asking for. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
I sit on the planning board, so I've heard this presentation a couple times. I defer to my fellow commissioners to see if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, do you have more information about the cul-de-sac dimensions, the first modification requested?
I don't have the exact dimensions offhand. It's kind of irregular, so it's not,
Yeah.
it's not typical. It is on the plans.
Sure, or you just want to talk to that at all? Yeah,
Should we go back to the slide?
thanks.
Questions for you too.
Ian, I don't know if you can be heard, so you may have to come up over close to the microphone here.
Okay, I see, yeah.
Instead of the traditional, E. McNeed's municipal planner, instead of the traditional round bulb cul-de-sac, it's, has a different kind of shape to it. We did test this design, down in the Public Works yard, with the fire department, with the Public Works department. We brought a fire truck down, laid cones out in the yard. The folks from the developer were there, municipal staff was there, Gateway was there. And we had, a fire truck navigate the cul-de-sac design so that we made sure that our largest apparatus was able to navigate that turnaround.
That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
And if my recollection is this variance, the cul-de-sac commission approved this before.
Correct.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Ian, my question was the previous development, and it's not important to get into because this is not the previous development, but the items where it did not meet were all saldo items.
There was, I believe, 12 or 13 modification requests in the previous development, so they're down to 4 on this one. And I believe all of the ones, when the commission issued their decision, and the solicitor can correct me if I'm wrong here, but when the commission issued their decision on the prior project, there was some of the modification requests were granted and some were denied. The specific one I remember being denied was the stormwater infrastructure in the public street, and they've, as Mr. Moore said, move that back into the private property section. I believe the commission did approve the cul-de-sac redesign, as Commissioner Silverman mentioned. I believe the commission did approve the straight curb along the Port Authority track side, because at the time the commission said they thought the rolled curb would encourage people to drive up onto the curb, whereas the straight curb would keep the cars on the street. The sidewalk one, was also through conversations with the neighbors, the Early specifically who, as you heard, own property adjacent to the development, were very specific about how they wanted the sidewalk to line up with the existing space for sidewalk in front of their property, because the sidewalk's gonna run not just in front of this development, but all the way up to the intersection with Poplar in front of the Early's property and onto the other adjoining properties as well. I think did I cover all four of them?
Yeah, well, these, yeah.
Oh, the street trees was just a 3-foot difference on where they went. Yeah.
Do you have additional questions or comments?
No, I'm good.
All right, Bill, is that clear for what?
Yeah, the cul-de-sac was actually approved, I think even before last one.
2008, actually, that entire development was approved.
Okay, so we've looked at this a while.
Mike Evage's development, because of the timing, was not able to move forward at that time from a financing standpoint.
But again, as far as the cul-de-sac is concerned, that is something that had come up before. Again, we tested it again this time, just to make sure our equipment still fit with it. Last time, I think like Mr. Early indicated, there was an issue over the status of Pennsylvania Boulevard in front of, between the development and Poplar, just whether it was private or not, but again, that issue has been worked out. At least to our satisfaction.
Okay, anything else?
Well, this is not germane to the subject, but I just can't help but ask, you don't have a firewall between these units, do you? Doing sprinklers? Firewall between units, or are you sprinklering, and what are you doing for fire?
So it can be heard on the mic.
Yeah, we will have a firewall, between the units. Ryan Nerhoff, residents of Poplar LLC.
Okay,
We will plan to have a firewall between the units. We haven't gotten fully into the, complete design on, again, just a generic rendering. They're gonna be fully custom built units, though. So I don't know if you have we have multiple color renderings that we provided as
Okay.
well, but.
curious, thanks.
One car garage, one parking spot in front, it looked like, from what I could see. Right? Or is it two car garage
Oh,
per
these are
unit?
2 cars, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Ian, any other questions before we adjourn this? All right, with that, thank you for your presentation. You're welcome. All right, next on the agenda, item 6, Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the adjustment to financial security posted for First National Bank, Mount Lebanon Land Development. First National Bank has requested a full release of the financial security posted for improvements installed for the First National Bank Land Development by letter dated June 28th, 2023. The request has been reviewed and verified by the municipal engineer, and he is recommending approval of the full reduction of the financial security posted, a total of $418,057.20. Mr. President, I move to release the full financial security posted for improvements for First National Bank, Mount Lebanon Land Development in the amount of $418,057.20.
Second,
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
I have a question for the planner. Is that business open yet? Do you know? It looks about done. It's open?
It looks like it's open, but
Great.
Yes, and I believe they have a temporary occupancy right now, and they were waiting on the Gateway's final review to get their full occupancy, but they're,
Open for business? Okay.
any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 7, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration to award a change order to the existing street reconstruction bid. Neando Construction has provided a bid proposal for reconstruction work along Arden Road to include curbs, sidewalks, pavings, and other apparatuses in the amount of $194,386.25. The bid proposal holds unit prices for items in the street reconstruction bid. I move to approve the change order to the street reconstruction project in the amount of $194,386.25 to Neando Construction.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Wait, okay, all right, so 4 yeses, 1 nay, and the motion passes. Item 8, Commissioner Swanton Wilson, please.
Is consideration of the execution of the development agreement for a retaining wall and grading at 1270 Pinewood Drive. The municipal engineer and solicitor have recommended that the municipality enter into a developer's agreement with the property owners of 1270 Pinewood Drive to ensure completion of the grading and installation of a retaining wall. I move to authorize the proper municipal officials to execute the development agreement between property owner Cole Dollinger and Mount Lebanon Municipality for the retaining wall and associated grading at 1270 Pinewood Drive, contingent upon receipt of the required financial securities within 60 days.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 9, Commissioner Grella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Request for final approval of a lot consolidation plan at 350 to 360 Castle Shannon Boulevard. JLAB Beauty LLC owns the parcels at 350 and 360 Castle Shannon Boulevard and is proposing to consolidate the 2 lots into a single 0.46 acre lot. The property is in the C-2 Commercial District, and the consolidated parcel will meet the area and bulk regulations of the zoning code. The planning board granted preliminary approval and recommended final approval at their June 2023 meeting. All engineering comments have been addressed. I move to grant final approval to the JLAB Beauty Lot Consolidation Plan.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously, and I see they're here. Congratulations. Item 10, Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the award of a contract to provide professional services related to the Main Park Site Plan and Recreation Center Architectural Study. The municipality has issued a request for proposals to engage a professional consulting team to create an overall site plan for the main park and to conduct an architectural study on the existing recreation facility, which houses the ice rink, recreation offices, and community rooms. This is one of the high priority projects as recommended by the 2022 Parks Master Plan. The municipality received 6 responses, which were reviewed by the project team consisting of 1 commissioner, staff, and representatives from the Parks Advisory Board and Sports Advisory Board. The project team recommends the contract be awarded to the collaborative team of Pashik MTR and Draw Collective. Mr. President, I move to authorize the manager and solicitor to prepare and execute an agreement and any ancillary documents with Pashik MTR and Draw Collective in the amount not to exceed $125,000.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? We discussed this at the discussion session. If anybody wants to get a bit more detail. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 11, Commissioner Grella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the Mount Lebanon Golf Course Cart Path Improvements. Bids were received on June 14th, 2023 for the Mount Lebanon Golf Course Cart Path Improvements. The project includes the extension of existing and installation of new bituminous golf cart paths at various locations through the Mount Lebanon Golf Course. Work shall include, but not be limited to, erosion and sedimentation controls, grading, excavation, sub-base installation, paving, and restoration. The municipal engineer has verified the bids as follows. It'll be on your screen and over on our right, the audience's left in extremely small writing.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
The municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer's estimate for all base bid items was $140,000. The budgeted amount for this project was $107,500. In discussion with the staff at the golf course, the engineer recommends the following portions of the project be awarded to T.A. Robinson Asphalt Paving, Inc. Base bids 2B, 3A, 3B, 3C, 5, 8A, 8C, 9, and 10. The contractor has completed similar golf course work at other courses, and paving work in the municipality in a satisfactory manner. I move to award base bids 2B, 3A.
No.
No,
Oh.
let's do the second.
There's
Oh.
two because we had the discussion during.
Thank you.
discussion session.
Thank you, thank you. I move to award all base bids to TA Robinson Asphalt Paving, Inc. in the amount of $119,466.80.
Second.
Thank you.
All right, so we chose to vote on the second of these two motions. And I've heard a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 12, Mr. Swager Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration to purchase one ready-to-use IBAK closed-circuit television, CCTV, main line sewer inspection system, and Ford Transit van through the Pennsylvania CoStarz purchasing program. This system will replace an Aries CCTV system housed in the 1998 Ford Econoline box van. The current equipment and vehicle will be offered for trade as part of the purchase of the new equipment. The new IBAC CCTV robotic inspection system will be used for remote inspections of the municipal sanitary and storm systems. The cost of the new van and equipment quoted by U.S. Municipal is $192,653. Funding for this vehicle has been appropriated in the 2023 capital improvement budget at $193,940. I move to purchase one ready-to-use IBAC CCTV mainline sewer inspection system and Ford Transit van through the Pennsylvania CoStarz purchasing program, contract number 025-E22-441 at a total cost of $192,653.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 13, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the rejection of the bid for the Arden Road Traffic Calming Improvement Project. Bids were received on June 21st, 2023 for the Arden Road Traffic Calming Improvement Project. The project includes traffic calming improvements in and along Arden Road. Only one bid was received from Michael Fascino Contracting Incorporated in the amount of $255,500. Because only one bid was received and it exceeded the budgeted amount, it is recommended that the bid be rejected. I move to reject the Arden Road Traffic Calming Improvement bid from Michael Fascino. Thank you, Fasciano Contracting Inc. Move to reject it.
Second. All right. The motion has been moved and seconded, and again, a yes here means a no for anybody in the audience, in this, our wonderful television audience who's paying attention. Any questions, comments? All right.
Yeah, I do. I
go
just want to say, normally if something is a little bit overbid, I would definitely, this is a very important project we've been working on since 2019, and I would have fought hard to try to get this approved. But it's $90,000 over something that we estimated should cost around $170,000. It's significantly overbid and probably due to, they're just not being, well, probably due to various factors, but our engineers and municipal staff recommended that we reject this bid because it's just so very far over what we had estimated and budgeted for the project.
Did we talk about there, Ben, or just sleeping?
That was the previous meeting we discussed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you weren't there, so I feel like you fell asleep. It's okay. All right.
No more vacations.
All right, any other comments? All right, all those in favor of rejecting the bid, all those in favor of rejecting the bid signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 4, Commissioner Corella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the rejection of the bid for the Brafferton Park renovations project. Bids were received on June 28, 2023 for the Brafferton Park renovations project. The project includes improvements in Brafferton Park for the removal and replacement of 10-foot fence and associated site restoration. Additional alternate bids were taken for repairs to the 6-foot fence, placement of topsoil and seeding, on existing infield and regrading of a drainage swale with associated site restoration. Only one bid was received from WG Land Company LLC for the following items up on your screen or on the screen here in the audiences. That would be their left. Because only one bid was received and it exceeded the budgeted amount and the engineer's opinion of cost, which was $72,500, it is recommended that the bid be rejected. I move to reject the Brafferton Park renovation bid of WG Land Company LLC.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, same thing. I know the residents have really wanted these improvements and we had a great meeting about it last summer. It's been in the Parks Master Plan. It's been something in discussion for almost a decade now in some form or another. So it breaks my heart to reject it, but it's almost double over what we thought it should cost. So, we need to be prudent and fiscally responsible. Try again.
Another
Yeah.
one of those, yes means no. So all those in favor of rejecting the bid signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0 and we are adjourned.